Hi, everybody. I am so excited to invite you to the very first episode of Adventures TV. Woohoo! So, my name is Nana Darkoa. I'm co-founder of Adventures from the Bedrooms of African Women, a collective blog for African women on the continent and in the diaspora to share space and to have conversations about anything related to sex, sexualities, and relationships. And I'm really excited to be starting what we hope will be a regular series with my fabulous co-hostess.
Hello, I'm Famia in Cancer, longtime Adventures contributor, community member, friend of the family, etc. So happy to be here.
Yeah, and I'm so excited to be on this journey with you, Famia. So to everybody that's watching us live or to anybody who will watch afterwards, do let us know any topics you'd like us to cover on this TV show or any guest you would like us to invite to the show to be in conversation with. And today, Famia and I decided that we wanted to address this question. The question is monogamy a myth? That's the question, right? So I would love it if you shared your own thoughts in the comments box. Just write a comment and tell us if you think monogamy is a myth. But I'm going to start by really just asking you, Famia, what are your thoughts? Like, is it real? I mean, does it really exist? Is it possible for people to be completely monogamous? Or are we just fooling ourselves when people say they are monogamous?
I think, okay, I'm a romantic at heart. So I really do think monogamy can exist. And I think that there are rare cases in which it does exist. Do I think monogamy is the norm in Ghana or in a lot of relationships? No. I think that a lot of relationships are open relationships that half of the parties do not know are open. So basically,
if half of the parties don't know that they're not open, then it's not open by definition, right?
No, it's not. It's not open. It's not like a cul-de-sac on a street. It's open on one side and then it's closed on the other. That's kind of how it is.
You cracked me up with that cul-de-sac then. But so what can we call those kind of relationships where, like, for one person, they're really acting like they're in an open relationship, even though they're not, right? Because by definition, an open relationship, both parties are open and honest. They have really sort of decided that, you know what, this is kind of the relationship model we want to go for. But then in Ghana, you know, like, I don't know, people claim to be monogamous, but then the reality is completely different.
No. It's like what Kobe Graham calls phonogamy, you know, like phonogamy. It's fake monogamy. It's one-sided monogamy.
And I have to say, I love the article. So just to ask people who are watching to check it out if you haven't read it. Our dear friend Kobe Graham wrote an article for The Guardian called Phonogamy, right?
Yeah.
Gamy. Just really speaking about how in Ghana people pretend to be monogamous when they're really not. So, I mean, Famia, what do you think? Why do people pretend to be in monogamous relationships, but, you know, in reality, they're doing something completely different?
I think there are a number of reasons. The first is that monogamy is kind of seen as a moral ideal, you know? And being promiscuous, sleeping with a lot of people, having a lot of lovers, all of that stuff is a little controversial in our society. And so monogamy is seen as what you do as a good person is number one. So everybody likes to pretend they're doing it because everybody wants to be thought of as a good person. That's one. The second one is actually because I think that a lot of men would like to date other people that are not their significant other, but are not willing to have the conversation about doing it because they are not willing to turn that cul-de-sac into a two-way street. So they feel like if they say, you know what, this monogamy isn't working, let's have an open relationship, then that means that the same way they are chopping people, somebody can chop their girl. And that doesn't sit well with them at all.
So they want to chop other people, but they don't want their girl or their wife or their significant other to chop other people.
Yes.
I mean, you reminded me of a couple of things. There's a friend of mine who told me that he said to his wife, right? Like, if you know, every so often you go out with your girls and you're having fun and you meet somebody and you want to do something with a person, feel free to go ahead. I just don't want to know. And his wife got so upset, you know. And I've also had other guys say to me that when they raise the subject of, you know, let's try and open up our relationship, their partners get really upset. And I wonder why that's the case. I mean, because I don't think that men are inherently more polyamorous or polygamous than women are, to be honest, you know. But I do feel like society will judge a woman, you know, who says she's not monogamous more than a guy. Because I feel like what we see in Ghana is actually society doesn't judge men who are polygamous. You know, it's really just normal. It's normal to go to a funeral and see a big man with his girlfriend, and everybody knows the girlfriend, you know. But it dare not happen the other way around. Even if a woman was, you know, cheating in her relationship, she would have to really keep it a secret. And if anybody finds out, you know, she's done.
Absolutely. I mean, look at the Nana Oyelitha and her husband controversy. Even the mere suggestion that she was dating somebody else validated all the rubbish that the man was doing in some people's eyes. But anyway, that's an aside. I think there are two things. One, men tend to be possessive because just societally, they've been given this sense of ownership over women's bodies and this sense of ownership over the way things are supposed to be for the longest time. So a woman, or a lot of women in our society, sort of feel like a guy who loves you should be possessive of you. A guy who loves you shouldn't be able to bear the thought of you being with someone else. And so for your friend's wife, I'm sure maybe that doesn't work. I think that there was probably the possibility of her being really horrified of like, look, I know you cheat. Every man in Ghana cheats. I can't do anything about you cheating. But now why are you disgracing me by telling me you cheat basically implicitly and then saying that you're fine with me sleeping with other men? Don't you value me? Don't you love me? Can you bear the thought of another man on top of me? Blah, 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 blah. I think that there's a lot of that drama built into it just because women haven't had that same sort of ownership over men that men have always had over women. And in some sense, a lot of women romanticize that sense of ownership, right? They equate it with love and they equate that possessiveness with being worthy or being valued or whatever. So I think something like that might be going on with your friend's girl. Or maybe she knows he's a psycho and he doesn't really mean it. And he says I should do it, but if I do it, Yawa go pie. So
but you know what you've reminded me? You've reminded me of something else that I've had male friends tell me. You know, where their wives or girlfriends have said something along the lines of, I know you're going to do your thing, I just don't want to know. And I feel like there's also a lot of that in Ghana, right? Where women say things like, well, if my husband cheats on me, it's not because of this that I'm going to end my relationship. And I feel like that gives men tacit approval to cheat. And for me, it's an issue. I don't understand because I'm like, okay, if you really do not care if he cheats on you, then why can't you have a conversation and actually agree that your relationship is an open relationship? And that's the bit that I don't understand, right? Because if, in a sense, you know, it's happening anyway, everybody knows it's happening, but everybody just likes to like turn a blind eye. Why can't people just have an open and honest conversation and say, you know what, we're going to have a polyamorous relationship, and this is the kind of polyamorous relationship we're going to have. These are the rules. Don't sleep with my friends, my sisters, my cousins, or whatever. Like, why will people just pretend, you know?
Well, because we're a society of facades. We're a society of veneers. We always like things that look nice on the surface. We never want to rock the boat, you know, too much. And I think particularly for a lot of Ghanaian women, there's this sense that all men cheat. So if I leave this man, I'm going to find another cheating man who might not have as good of a job, who might not be as good of a father, who might, you know, be cheating and hitting me, so there's this sort of very sense of soft bigotry of low expectations, as Barack Obama would say. Like the expectations we have of men tend to be extremely low, and so they can get away with a lot of things. But at the same time, a friend of mine used to say, you can cheat on me, just don't disgrace me. And for that friend, I can see how a guy sitting here down to discuss the fact that he cheats would feel extremely insulting. Like, what? I mean, what? Why would you tell me this? What does this have to do with me? And I think that for some people, living the lie is more easy than having to deal with the complex truths, right? Because if your man says, okay, let's discuss why I cheat, then that's an actual conversation that you're going to have. And a lot of women don't want to have that conversation because they are frightened about what it will say about them or what it will bring up about their own inadequacy or whatever. But the sad thing is that men don't cheat because women are inadequate. I was telling someone this recently. Men don't cheat because women are inadequate. Men don't cheat because they don't love their wives. Men cheat on women they love all the time. Men cheat on women they respect all the time. The main reason people cheat is because they are not disciplined and because they are not loyal. That's really what it comes from. Lack of loyalty.
Oh.
The best guy with all the best attributes, with the best, prettiest, awesomest wife in the house, most bomb pussy, as Beyonce would say, best cook, Obasama, then. You see him with some random chick. And it's not because his wife is inadequate. It's not because his girlfriend is inadequate. It's just because he lacks discipline. But
that's one thing you said, Famia, that I disagree with.
Okay.
I do not think that men or women cheat because they lack discipline.
Really?
Yes, I don't think so.
Enlighten me.
I think people cheat because it's just not realistic to say you're not going to be attracted to somebody else for the rest of your life. And I feel like it's just human instinct to want other people. I feel like it's just natural. And I feel like that's just how we're created as human beings. And I feel like especially, when I look back into my own family, I come from a polygamous family. That's just how my family has been intergenerationally. And so I feel like, of course, the concept of monogamy came with Christianity.
Yeah.
And I want to also believe, because I don't think, like when I think of like my great grandfather, he had like 7 wives who all lived in different towns, so he spent a month here, a month there. I don't think, I'm not trying to slander anybody, but I don't think all of those women were sitting there crossing their legs, just waiting for him to come around and shag them. I think women have always done their own thing as well. And so I don't think it's a lack of discipline. And I don't think the fact that you cheat on somebody means, like you said, you don't love your wife, your husband, your partner, whatever. I think it's just sometimes having sex with other people is part of how we express our attraction, our desire, we get to know folks. So
I agree with you. So I think monogamy itself is not necessarily realistic for a lot of people because everybody gets tired, no matter what it is. It could be your favorite food on earth. Eating it every day for the rest of your life, eventually, like that's just facts, right? But for me, that's the difference between an open relationship and cheating. So having the courage to have the discussion, to have an open relationship, is for me being somebody who is honest about the fact that monogamy is not your thing. Cheating for me is where the lack of discipline comes in, because when you've made a promise to not do something, but you can't stop yourself. You just keep doing it, And for me, that's where the lack of discipline comes in, and also the lack of loyalty, right? Because we've done pinky swear, we've shook hands,
pinky swear.
You alone, you're going corners, trying to chop people. You're not loyal.
No, I hear you. So, I feel like on one of our future episodes, I would really love for us to be able to have a conversation with a couple, if any such couple are brave enough to come and join us on this show, who have decided to negotiate an open relationship and are actually being open and honest, right? That will be a dream. That will be a dream. So if there are any such couples watching this show and would love to be on, this is a virtual show, like you can tell. So as long as you've got an internet connection, we can connect with you, you know, and we can, I don't know, I don't have those skills, but maybe we can figure out a way, even if you don't want to be like visible, like you have a curtain over your camera or something, just so we can have the conversation. But I would love to hear from couples that have been able to negotiate open relationships, to be able to share with others how they have done so. Because, you know, I mean, I know from the people I have spoken to is that this is something that they actually find very hard to do, to actually negotiate open relationships. Yeah.
I think they are complicated. I would love to see people living in their truth. Love to see people just come and say, look, we're a polygamous couple or we're a polyamorous couple. I mean, I think the thing is that polyamory is the norm in the West because polygamy is illegal. Whereas in Ghana, polygamy is legal, particularly if you're Muslim or if you practice traditional religion. Even though you only have one registered wife, it's not against the law to have more than one wife. So,
you know, I hadn't thought about that, Famia. What I mean is I hadn't thought about the fact that polyamory is, like, in a sense, more, I'm trying to think of the right word, right? That is most of permissible in the West because polygamy is illegal. And like here is the other way around. Like I actually hadn't thought about that. Yeah.
We are put a ring on it kind of society.
We want you to bring the schnapps, to bring the material, to have everybody surround, and we'll be like, hey, now you can do your thing.
Now you can marry all 5 of us and take us all to your house. Yeah. You know. But I wish people would be honest. Like I want somebody to come and say, okay, this is my relationship. It's either polyamorous or polygamous, and these are the rules that govern it. For me, I've heard a lot of good stuff about polyamory, but I've also heard that the successful couples, again, no expert here, seem to think that radical honesty and lots of communication is the thing that makes it successful. So basically you have rules. You can't chop my cousin. You can't chop the banker cashier at my bank. You can't do this, you can't do this. Okay, first we can chop these people, we've agreed. Now, can we chop them in the house? Can we chop them? Do we take them to hotels? Do we take them to hotels where nobody will see us? Then, how are we chopping them? Are we using condoms? I mean, like when I think about it, the thought of sleeping with somebody other than who I'm dating could seem attractive in the short term. But, hey, Jumo. Oh, let's see.
Hey, Jumapa. But
rules. Then chop somebody, and then it might not even be good. Charlie, it's okay. Let me stay with what I'm working with.
Oh dear. No, but for me, like the thought of polyamory is personally attractive because I'm all about openness and honesty. And like the thing that I would hate is if I thought I was in a monogamous relationship with somebody and they cheated on me. That would pain me. And it wouldn't be the fact that they slept with somebody else. It would be one, that they lied to me, and two, they exposed me to diseases. Because I didn't know you were sleeping with somebody else, I couldn't protect myself. So for me, I'd want to have that conversation. And me too, I see people that I fancy, or even when I'm in relationships, I see people that I fancy. So I rather we both sat down and we're like, oh, we love each other, we want to be together, but you know, every so often give each other a pass, or these are the terms of our agreements, whatever. Like, just don't lie. Just don't. Because if you lie, if you cheat on me, that's it. No matter how much I love you, no matter if we have 10 children, the relationship is over. Because I can't trust you anymore. You know?
No, that's the same thing with me. I feel like my thing about cheating is when you cheat on me, you've basically put me in a threesome that I did not consent to. I don't know this woman. I don't know if she's cute. I don't know if I would ordinarily want to have her juices and my juices mingle in any kind of way. So, and now all of a sudden she's part of my life because of you and your stupidity. No.
Yeah.
Just tell me you can't and leave. Because for me, cheating is a deal breaker. Deal breaker. You know, I wouldn't be able to not even just trust you, but I wouldn't be able to respect you anymore. Because I feel like you were taking the piss. Like, I'd just be like, for real? Like, that's what we're doing now? Like you think I'm that dumb?
No, I hear you. I hear you. And I mean, there's this statistic I had years ago, but I have to say it's just always stayed with me because it's so like horrifying. And for me, it's like endemic of this issue that we're talking about, right? That in West Africa, the, you know, in a sense, what predisposes, God, I can't think of the right way to express it now, but what puts women most at risk at HIV is actually marriage. Married women are more at risk of HIV than single women because, of course, married women, they don't negotiate condom use, right? Because the assumption is it's you and your husband. And, you know, a lot of men will get pissed off. How dare you suggest we use a condom? What are you trying to say? What are you doing? Whereas really, it's the other way around. You know, so single women actually, because they're able to negotiate condom use, are a lower risk of HIV. And for me, this is the other issue, right?
Wow. That's so interesting. That actually reminds me of a statistic I read sometime last year about how the highest percentage of women who get abortions are actually women in marriages who already have children and don't want another child. Even though the stereotype is, you know, these single Jezebels who can't keep their legs closed, but it makes sense. They're getting it on the regular. They're not using protection. They are far more likely to get pregnant than, you know, regular floor member walking around dating X, dating Y. So that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, they're just chilling, waiting for the HIV and just totally defenseless.
Yeah. So I don't know. I feel like there's obviously so much that we can say on this show, but we said we wanted to keep the show short and tight so that people can sit and watch it in one go. And I'm thinking that, yeah, let's keep talking about the different types of relationships we have in Ghana, and not just Ghana, but Africa, because like everybody knows, Adventures is really a Pan-African blog, you know, Pan-African space, not just for women on the continent, but also women in the diaspora. So do email your thoughts on this topic. Is monogamy a myth? Email adventuresfrom @gmail.com. Adventuresfrom@gmail.com. This is the problem with live shows, right? Like your phone can ring in the middle.
Oh, yeah. I'm just glad it wasn't me.
Oh dear. So, like final words. So, yeah, final words from you, Famia.
Final words. I think monogamy takes patience that not everybody has. I think you have to be honest with yourself about whether you have that kind of patience, and you have to be honest with your partner, and you have to be willing to come to some kind of honest negotiation that's fair to all parties about how you want to handle, you know, your desires. But if you have not had the courage to have that conversation, then I beg, massa, don't play the buffoonery. Like, not had the courage to tell somebody that you want to sleep with other people, then you have lost the right. Your cowardice has deprived you of the right to sleep with other people.
Oh, wow. You are not playing. You are not playing.
That's where I stand.
Okay, so my own final words, you know, I think monogamy came by ship. You know, I feel like at least for us as Africans, it is not, I mean, I don't believe in biological essentialism, but I would just say we have not been socialized to be monogamous people. What I think is unfair about polygamy is, of course, it just benefits men, right? So I want to advocate for polyamory, actually. So both men and women can negotiate open relationships. And I feel like couples should be open and honest and discuss these issues with one another. And any couple that wants to come and speak about polyamory and their experience, holla at Famia and myself. Yes, we'll be excited to have you as a guest on the show. We're looking to do this regularly. Famia, we're going to try and do every Saturday around the same time.
Sounds like a plan. I'm down.
Yes, great, great. So I hope you enjoyed this show. No, share your comments, share your thoughts. What did you like? What can we do better? And we will see you in a week's time. Bye.
Bye-bye.